Yo, what's up guys, it's Nigel here, and I'm back with another FGC news for a month, and this one's going to be March, obviously, because March just ended. I waited a few days just to get more information to see what would happen at the end of March, and a little bit for April because of, EVO Japan, so I'll talk a little bit of that. I'm probably not going to cover everything because this video might be released either in the 3rd or the 4th or something, I'm not sure yet, but yeah, either way, there's timestamps for this video if you want to skip to a certain section. I'm not trying to make the video too long, so I'm gonna not talk about like who won the tournaments too much or anything like that. So yeah, either way, let's begin. Alright, first is obviously Tekken, because Tekken has probably the hugest news for freaking March, because they just had back-to-back trailers. I think it's a total of 7 trailers, which is pretty crazy for a fighting game. And the characters that they showed were Paul, Martial Law, King, Lars, June, and Jack 8 and Ling Xiaoyu. So pretty very good chunk of characters, if I might add, for a game that's probably coming out next year. Maybe, because I'm starting to question it a little bit, but then again, they said it's alpha, so most likely still next year. But they're just going a little crazy with the news, and I've talked about a few of them, like King and Paul. I think are the only two I talk about really, because then they added more trailers. But just gonna quick summary of how I feel about them. I think Paul looks cool. He looks like he has good mix-ups now. Law, he looks alright. I've never been really a Law player. King looks great. He has a lot of cool new moves now, and his bounds are really interesting. Lars looks like he's an absolute beast with his new mix-up tools, like how he can do a step and a stance and then do like a follow-up. I don't know what that is. That's a little madness. He has a super that he has from Storm too. Well, it's similar, but they added like their own adaptation to it, honestly, which is cool. Jack 8 looks pretty alright. I've never been a Jack fan, so there's nothing much I can really say about him. I think his Rage Art looks cool, but it's not better than Kazuya's, in my opinion. And June looks actually wonderful. It was kind of nice to see in her trailer that she reacted to Kazuya, so there's stuff going on there. We'll finally get to know more about that, which is really cool. And then Ling Xiaoyu, hers is alright. I've never been, I never really liked her, used her, never really encountered people using her online too much either, but when I did, they beat me up, so because I didn't know the matchups. But yeah, I think her outfit's really cool though. I think that's like the coolest thing about her. Her new outfit is sick with the phoenix and everything. I think that's cool. But that's just to summarize all that stuff now. Now it's time to get to the meat of the whole thing for me, honestly, which is the gameplay that they show. But before that, we gotta talk about how there's now special intros in Tekken, which is very cool. Now, I think the best one so far that they've shown is easily the Lars and Jin one, where they fist bump each other like Ryu and Ken from Third Strike or something. That is sick. That is sick, dude. And the Kazuya and Jun one, dude, that one's sick, because you don't really get to see them do anything, because obviously, Tekken 2 was like, that was the only game they kind of talked, or Tekken 1 or something. So it's like, they even show it, so it's like, finally we get to see something with them, finally. Emotion, because Kazuya is not just super ultra evil. There is good in him, which is, she's gonna show that in this game, hopefully. Alright, and there's the weaker one of the 3 that they show, which is the Jin Xiaoyu one, which is, she's like, hey, let's fight, and that'll reveal how you feel and stuff or whatever. And I'm like, what? I guess that makes sense to a certain degree, so it's like a little QT thing, but it's okay, it's nothing crazy or anything like that, so. But besides that, though, we actually finally do get to see gameplay from Tekken 8. It's not from like YouTube or anything like that, because I don't think they were able to record, from what I understand from what the main man said when he went to play the game, because YouTubers got to go there, Maximilian, the main man Sui, Arslan, and other people I can't think of the name of at the moment, but they all went to play it, and they have their own YouTube videos out, their reactions, how they feel about the game. And from what I understand, most people say the game feels great. It's still Tekken, but it just has new mechanics. Like, another thing from what everybody's been saying is that the movement is practically the same from Tekken 7, which could be a good thing in a sense, like, everything's pretty much the same. But who knows, it could be a bad thing, considering, no one really knows what's going on necessarily. Like, people might know new moves, this, that, and this, and even somewhat degree frame data, but we don't know how the grand scheme of movement will change with this, how their new aggressive playstyle is in this game, and how it'll affect, because in Tekken 7, for me personally, I used to get hit from moves, and I would sidestep, and I'm like, why did that hit me? Like, it wasn't even like a homing attack, it just hit me random. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. But maybe that's just a personal issue or anything, but who knows? Maybe the same thing could happen in Tekken 8, possibly, because we don't know how things react to certain things, because given some people had 2 hours, some people had 8 hours, and everybody still doesn't know what's going on, because it is still an alpha, so anything could happen. But overall, everybody's saying movement is good. Some people say even the movement is better. But I think that's maybe a placebo effect or something. But I don't know. But there is technically, I guess, big gameplay changes. Like, if you low parry somebody, it doesn't bound anymore, which is interesting. And magic fours are kind of gone, which is, that was when I first heard, I'm like, what? You know, so I can't really like press 4 anymore just to get them off of me or something like that. They want you, because what it does is, instead of like you get a counter hit and you get a combo or something, they kind of just, you kick them and they just like, whoop, and they just go back down, go back up, and like they're still in neutral. So I was like, what the heck? I think they just want us to use like less moves like that, because the payoff is a bit different now. If you want to like get a good counter hit, you're gonna have to risk it for the biscuit a little bit. Like you'd have to use down 2 Akazi or something, or I don't know, something. Well, that's not too risky. Well, yeah, it is risky technically, but something like that. So I'm assuming that, I guess, armor moves are probably gonna be the key thing to use now. Then, so that's gonna lead to a little bit more grabbing too, because I still think the rules apply. If you do armor move, you can grab them, and they can't tech it. So armor moves are definitely gonna be a replacement then for a lot of counter hit attacks instead of doing that, since you can't get anything out of like magic fours anymore, so stuff like that. So they want you to implement armor moves and the heat moves as well, like the heat dasher and stuff like that, to do more other stuff. They want you to spin that meter, because using the meter does change your character drastically. Like for instance, from what I understand, for Kazuya, when you do when you go into your heat mode or whatever, his what is it, I think it's down 3-4, like his stomp. If you just do that, he gets like a shockwave effect that just hits from farther away or something like that. His moves are amplified to a bit, and they can do other stuff that's amplified as well. And even for Jin, I believe if he's in heat, then he can do the Omen Sense. I think that's how that works. I could be wrong about the Omen Sense part, but for the Kazi thing, I know I'm right about that. So other moves have definitely changed depending. So they want you to get a little reckless here and there. So I heard it's good, but I haven't played the game, so I don't know. But it looks very interesting. Like, it looks cool. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it looks really, really cool. But I guess we're just gonna have to wait to see what else other changes they're gonna do, because like, for a character like Steve that's a counter hit character, I wonder how much this is going to affect his gameplay. Is he still going to be a counter hit character? Because everybody else's counter hits are kind of like eh. So what are they going to do with him? Is he just going to be the same and have all this new stuff? Or are they going to make like a drastically different game plan for him or something like that, involving the new mechanic? Which could be very interesting, but I guess time will tell on that one, I suppose. Oh, and this is something I should mention for anybody who uses Mishimas. I'm pretty sure it might be Kazi exclusive. I think it works for Jin, I don't know. But if you go in your little heat mode, you get to pretty much do a free electric. Like, it make electrics easier to do. Or I'm not sure if it's just instant electrics if you do one God Fist or not. But all I know is that's insane, because they electrics do chip damage, and since they push back, you're gonna be eating that. You're gonna be eating that frame data. That's, what is it, +4 or +5? Oh, yeah, you're eating that, brother. And there's chip. Oh, I'm sorry, brother. Oh no, that's funny news, and it's cool news for me, but I feel bad for people getting hit by it. But again, though, you can't die from chip damage, so it's not super crazy, but it is pretty impressive. Now, like a few other changes that I should mention before we get on to other Tekken news is that you can't do running tackles anymore. Wall bounces seem like it's not a thing anymore, so they might have just taken that out entirely or something. They might add that back in like another season of Tekken 8 eventually down the line or something, but I don't know. Get up kicks no longer knock down. Like I said about the magic fours before, no longer you getting a combo, no longer launching. And the thing that's just annoying here is rage hearts are -13, so you can't launch punish them. You can't do a hop kick or whatever you normally do to get a big punish. You can't do that anymore. I don't know why they did that, but I'm a little mad. But that's pretty much all the changes that have happened in the game. And this is just from me looking at Spag's list and looking at, main man tweet videos and just looking at overall gameplay. Seems like a lot has changed. You can't do certain things, can't punish certain ways. They want you to incorporate your gameplay a bit more to the heat and using armored attacks. But that's just what I've seen so far. That's what I've seen. Now, the last thing we need to talk about, because I might as well cover them since it's April 2nd and the trailers came out on April 1st, and I'm a little late. But might as well talk about the Leroy trailer. Leroy. I expected he would come back because he's probably the most popular DLC character besides Armor King that came out in Tekken 7. And yeah, he looks cool. Like, I'm not a big Leroy fan, so I'm like, oh yeah, I like Wing Jin. I watch all the Ip Man moves and stuff like that. I like martial arts, so it's cool to see him back and stuff. But kind of not, because I don't like him because he was really broken at the beginning of the game. Literally everybody's using him, so I kind of don't like him, but kind of do. So it's nice to see that he has some new cool stuff. It seems like he has like like a chip damage move where he does rapid punches. I think he does it in the trailer. That definitely does look like it's gonna do chip damage. He has new combos with rapid punches with some heat moves, and yeah, his rage art looks really sick. It's kind of the exact same rage art before, but different camera angle, which is neat. You know, summoning a dragon, a black dragon. That's cool. So not bad. It does seem like he does have some more moves with the cane. So good. So it's kind of like incorporating weapons. So it's not like going to be a customization thing. It's just going to be incorporated with his move list, which it should have been in the first place. Oh wait, yeah, it's kind of broken text, so never mind. But it probably fits more now. So yeah. And then the Asuka trailer, which I was me personally more excited for, because Asuka has kind of been like an okay character, honestly, in Tekken 7. Nothing really going on. So they gotta give her a little boost here with giving her like I'm not sure if it's like a meter gauge or something, but like when she points at you, she gets something of some sort. I don't think it's a stance, but I think it's like she gets like a meter thing. So that's cool to see. So Asuka has like a new way of getting more combos and built in more special moves and stuff like that, which I think she needs because June is in the game, and June is literally her style, because, you know, June originally had Asuka's style because she's, you know, Jun Kazama, Asuka Kazama, so they have the same style kind of. So I wonder how they're going to change that a little bit. So it's kind of like a secondary version if you think about it, but this will give her a more uniqueness. So that means there could still be hope for clone characters to show up technically. So that's also what that means if you think about it, because June and Asuka do have somewhat of similar moves, because June's moves are the original, the Kazama fighting style, and Asuka came in next when June was gone. So good to see that she's back. And her rage art is really nice, a little slam. It's not super amazing, but it's cool to see her have something like a big impactful attack, because she's always been known to be a heavy hitter. So that's nice. But that should be all the Tekken news thus far. I'm not sure when we'll probably get more. Maybe in the I think there's gonna be Summer Games Fest this year, I think, since E3's canceled. So we'll probably get more news for Tekken around down that line, or we might just keep showing trailers, who knows. But next up is Street Fighter 6. I almost said 5. And there's not really a lot going on here. Maybe there will be for when EVO Japan ends, because I don't think they did the final for Street Fighter 6. I don't think they did. But we haven't really gotten anything too much. Like, we've gotten gameplay for characters, which is nice to see what they can do, because they haven't really broke down any of the characters too much. So there's Marissa and Zangief that's happened. There is Lily and E Honda. I said Blanca last time, it was E Honda. And there is also recently Cammy and Mano. So there's gameplay of those characters now. But that is really it for, I think, for Street Fighter 6, because there hasn't been a trailer or anything too crazy for the game. They're just showing gameplay of characters that we haven't seen fully in action. So that's always nice to see. That's pretty much it for the Street Fighter 6 side. Like, I think there's just only been 3 showcases of, at least of technically last month, because last month March, of stuff that is happening for Street Fighter, because they've already shown JP versus Blanca, and I think it was Dawson versus DJ, so we've already seen stuff like that. So I don't know who else they would show. Now, I did have a theory that they could show like a DLC characters if they wanted to for early, because the game's pretty much done at this point. I think they're just kind of polishing it up at this point, so they could show for EVO Japan, but I'm not sure if finals ended or not. So if they did finish it, then we're not getting nothing, obviously. And if they did, well, we could see something of the story or another story trailer. But as of right now, there is nothing. Now, lastly, this is the news I've been kind of wanting to talk about besides Tekken, is the SNK news, which is Kim is coming out and April 4th, which is good to hear, because I've been waiting for Kim. Honestly, I've been waiting, because I thought they were going to show a trailer early last month in March, but they did not, surprisingly. So I'm like, what? They actually showed it a little bit in the middle part. So I'm like, okay, finally. And he looks really cool. He is coming out on April 4th, so that's good to know and good to see, because Kim was the missing character, honestly, in King of Fighters 15 that people wanted to see. And also, they added a teaser for Sylvia from King of Fighters 14. She's making a 15, but we kind of already knew that because of the silhouette. And it's kind of like, yeah, she's cool. So congratulations for all the people that wanted her. Me personally, I'm not the biggest fan of her. I don't really care if she's in the game, don't really care if she's not, but I'm just, it's cool that she's added for the people that wanted her. And also, there will be an open beta test for King of Fighters 15 eventually in spring. Not sure exactly the time, but they just announced that this is going to happen, so cool. Finally, I can fight people on PC. They're probably going to beat me up, but I'm already getting beat up with that game. That game's pretty hard, but it's still fun to play King of Fighters 15. And some news for the Sam Show community is that rollback netcode is coming in spring. They pretty much announced it, so get ready to embrace the rollback and Sam Show. Now, they haven't really announced a date, so you can probably imagine it could be coming out at the end of this month or maybe early next month, but who knows? All we know, it's coming in spring, so just get ready. So whoever's a Sam Show player, get ready to embrace that rollback and mess some Genichiro players up and Earthquake, because I don't like fighting Earthquake. Alright, next up is not surprising news at all, which is King of Fighters 13 global match. Who would have thought? I sure did, because 2002 unlimited match rollback every console. Same with 98, 97. I think that's the only games, but really good news to hear. So it's gonna have rollback. It's gonna be on PlayStation and Nintendo Switch. Now they didn't say Steam or Xbox, but I'm just gonna assume Steam or Xbox is on the list as well. I don't know. They wasn't on the list, like I said. But yeah, I'm glad it's getting rollback netcode because that game is fun. Really hard though, very, very hard. But the internet before was absolute duty, so I'm glad it is getting rollback finally. It was obvious that this was happening, but we didn't know when, and it's happening now. So I wonder what else they're gonna announce next. Oh, also I forgot. Garl Mark of the Wolves is technically one of the other games that got rollback. I think I don't remember for sure, but just to mention it, just so I can not forget all the games that got rollback that they re-released. And speaking of Garl Mark of the Wolves, next up is the new Fatal Fury game, or Garl Mark of the Wolves. Not sure what they're gonna call it, but they showed off Terry with the bomber jacket, Joe with like a tracksuit, and Andy with like a business outfit or something. You know what he kind of reminds me of? His look kind of reminds me of Eagle, which is funny. It reminds me of Eagle. If you guys know who Eagle is from Street Fighter, that's what it reminds me of. Alright, and lastly, we gotta talk about that Genitz teaser. Oh, I've been waiting for this, because as soon as they did a Mega Rugal free update, I'm like, dude, they gotta do all the bosses then. So they're gonna do like Genitz next, and then like maybe Ignis or something, or Chrysalid. So I'm glad it's Genitz, because Genitz, I think he's probably one of my favorite bosses in King of Fighters. So he will be playable with Sylvia, but he'll be a free update just like Omega Rugal, so he'll probably have his own thing. Not sure if it's own stage, but probably they're going to use a stage from before, the rainy one. But yeah, he's going to be a boss you fight, and yeah, he's going to be a free character that you can get. So I'm looking forward to that for sure. Hopefully they crank up the difficulty, because that was way too easy in my opinion. Hope you guys are ready to get Goku Death God from that guy though. Alright, next up is just a jumble of information that's happened as well. I don't want to forget this, so we're going to do this. We're going to do this quick, I don't make the video too long. But we had the Batman trailer that came out from Guilty Gear Strive showing Batman. They actually have a showcase of him and his gameplay and stuff like that too, that is out. And they showed the next character for Guilty Gear Strive as well, which is Asuka, which I'm looking forward to, because I'm going to be using Asuka, Batman, and Sin. Those are going to be the three characters I use in Guilty Gear. They're going to be my three mains. And we need to talk about Fighter Z getting rolled back. They're getting finally a test of some sort, at least a test, in spring for Steam. So if you like Fighter Z and stuff like that, want to play in rollback, you're gonna have to wait sometime in spring. They didn't really give it an announcement for like a trailer or anything like that. They're just saying, hey, it's happening in spring, so be ready for the beta test in Steam. And this isn't really a fighting game. Technically it is, but it's more of an arena fighter, which is Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi 4 or Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi Super, whatever they're gonna call it. That just got announced. They have a little teaser and everything, so I'm just gonna put that in here too. Now, I did make a video about it, explaining a little bit more in detail about it, about like, not all characters might be in the game base. Some of them might be DLC, but I'm not really gonna go over this at all. So if you just want to watch that video, it's like 4 or 5 minutes, not too long. If you want to watch that. But yeah, I got all this information for the Dragon Ball stuff in the Battle Hour, because I watched a little bit of it, and then I somehow made it the right time for when they showed Budokai Tenkaichi 4. So I was like, oh snap, cool. And then because I was waiting for the Fighter Z stuff, and they talked about it, I'm like, that's cool, but no trailer or anything, nothing new. Oh, actually there is going to be a gameplay balance thing for fighters. I should mention that, because it's very important. Almost forgot about that. But yeah, there's going to be a new patch for when rollback comes out too. And lastly, I think this should be the last news for March, is the Grandblue Verus Rising stuff with the goat lady. I think her name is Anel. She's like a sheep or goat lady with a Nagitana, which they showed like a little trailer for her, which is about like a minute or so long. So that's pretty cool if anybody's excited for her. And then they had like a little trailer just showing off like just a compilation of the gameplay a little bit, not really like anything crazy, they played with some music or whatever. And then at the end of it, they showed Siegfried, which is everybody's been waiting for. Like, thank goodness. He looks really, really cool. He might actually get me back into the game. So they didn't like show gameplay. They just showed like a tiny intro and like that was it, some art. I will say though, it is a shame that no one else is gonna be able to use him except for me, because that's my main character now. So yeah, I'm sorry, brothers, but you're gonna have to use someone else. Holy smokes! Never mind. Not lastly, there's still some other news I didn't mention. There's also the news of Multiversus not necessarily being dead, but considering that the game wasn't really, because I forgot about that entirely too. Now I think about it, it was in open beta technically. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna close off the beta to people. You can still play it offline, and all the cosmetics you have will still remain the same. Like, you'll still have it, because we're just getting feedback from people trying to improve the game overall. Because the game technically comes out early 2024, so that's what's about to happen to Multiverse. It's just gonna go with radio silence for a minute. You can still play it in the training room and offline technically, so you just can't play online. And then the game will come back and be new and improved. So the game isn't dead; it's just resting. It's hibernating, you know. So when early 2024 happens, they're gonna have a better battle pass system, better this and that, and modes and whatnot, costumes and all that stuff, and even more characters. So be ready for that, because all your stuff will be able to be carried over. So you're completely fine. Everything is saved for you. So all we gotta do is just wait, and we'll see what the game is actually really about. So yeah, that's pretty much all the news for Multiversus. And finally, I think this is finally, they asked some news for DNF Duel, which is showing off Spectra, the girl we've been waiting for, you know, the girl with the katana. She's kind of like Hitman, but the female version, like how in DFO, like it's just like they swap, you know, genders, they have different classes. She's just similar to Hitman, essentially. Now they're also adding a booty load of changes too, like they're actually adding a new system, a new awakening system as well, combat changes, this and the other. Now all this stuff that's happening, including the character Spectra, will be coming out in 2023 in the summertime. So we got about like maybe 4 months or something before this all happens. And then they do have a roadmap of other stuff, like the season pass of what other characters coming out. We're getting a character in fall, and then 2023 in winter, and then 2 other characters in 2024. They haven't announced early a time. But there is definitely going to be even more changes to the game and gameplay, like how they've added a new system called the Cube system, which is still working title what they're going to be calling it, by the way, which is a system that allows you to choose what awakening you want before the match starts to give, you know, different properties or whatever. So it gives a player a choice of how they want to approach fights and stuff like that. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Top system, and even a little bit of variation from MKX. So this is very good news. Like, this is going to change gameplay for sure, heavily, and it's going to make matches even more entertaining and make you give a choice of what you want to do approaching a certain matchup or whatever. But also, DNF Duel is coming to Switch, so that is very interesting. So the game is definitely going to increase in sales and probably get even better. And with all the new system and battle mechanic changes that are going to happen, it's going to make the game more interesting. Who knows? I might even go back on it and give it a try if it's actually interesting to me. But we'll see. But I'm glad the game's actually doing well. So yeah. Well, that is all the news for March, I think. And I added a little bit of news for April, you know, with the Leroy stuff and a little bit of Grandblue Rising stuff too. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And now if I did miss anything, let me know down below in the comments or something, because there was a lot of news. This video is way longer than February's for sure. But either way, have a good day, night, or noon, or whatever time period you guys are at, man. And I will see you guys next time.